Hello and welcome to the Dash Force News Free Amigos podcast. This is episode 23, and today we're joined with my two fellow amigos, Brian and Joel, and our special guest, Jeff Smith, aka CoinGun, head of networks operations lead of the Dash Core team. And first and foremost, before we jump into some interesting topics this week, this is a pre-recorded show that we're recording on Thursday night and will be uploading on Friday. This is the first time ever for a Free Amigos podcast that we've not done live with a live Q&A session. And that is because my buddy Joel is going to, he's leaving to go to a conference in Texas tomorrow. Joel, would you like to tell us a bit more detail about that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, just kidding. So Texas Bitcoin Conference is happening in Austin, Texas over Saturday and Sunday of this week. The whole weekend conference, although there is a social on tomorrow night, Friday night, and I intend to be there as well. So it's going to be a large, nice conference. It turns out Dash is a silver level sponsor to the conference. So Dash will have a table right in front of where the conference hall, and there will be several people tabling throughout the weekend. I will be giving a talk on the digital cash revolution that no one's talking about until I talk about it, of course. And there will be 2 Dash ATMs on site, including a two-way one. And of course, last but not, and I'll also be on the media panel. And I'm sure I will find time to jump on Free Talk Live to also talk about Dash. And last but not least, our old buddy Amanda B. Johnson will be present at the conference. Rumor confirmed. Yay. So as part of that, right? So for one thing, it's going to be a great conference, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll all do a good job. It's going to be lit, whatever. But Sunday, I'm planning on doing a brief sort of live stream, much like the after parties we hold here. And so maybe we can let the community go say hi to Amanda live, etc. So it's going to be a good time.
Cool. What time is that going to be?
I haven't decided specifically yet. I'll probably wait till I get there and get a little bit more of the schedule and the lay of the things going. And basically, whenever I'll be sitting at the table, I'll be able to do something. So I'll definitely keep the community abreast of that. I'm guessing Sunday afternoon. Like early afternoon.
Sunday. Okay. I may do something Friday. I may get our guy August to help out and get like a video chat thing, 3 Amigos, something Friday, just to hang out there in Discord.
Yeah, that might be fun. It's pretty cool that the community gets to get together like this. That's one thing. People love the Dash community. It's one of the strong suits of Dash. And part of that, a lot of people don't kind of underestimate the value of what to some people might see as just a simple hanging out kind of thing. Like, oh, we're just hanging out with people. It's like, yeah, but that's where all the greatest ideas come from. That's where the community synergy comes from. That's what separates us from just people who like a certain technology and turns us into a decentralized network. So,
excellent.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to the Texas Bitcoin Conference coverage, and you're going to be that, and you can have some swag as well, right? Apparently, you and Danny, you got the hookup, right?
Yes, I got a box of swag. I'll be giving out some stuff, and I haven't fully finalized how I'm going to do this, but I intend to give away 1 Dash to courtesy of Dash Force to, I would suppose, about the first 30 attendees who could set up a Dash wallet and take a selfie with it at the Dash booth. So we may have 30 new Dash wallet selfies, hashtag first Dash wallet,
yeah,
from the conference. So that's gonna be exciting as well.
Excellent.
Who's this new guy with the short hair here?
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of conferences, I think someone
that's Mark. I've seen you before. I mean, although you must have much better eyesight than me to see, it's pretty short there.
I almost don't recognize you, Jeff. It's a bit weird. I'm not going to lie. I'm not used to this short hair, Jeff. I missed the fro.
Yeah,
Obviously.
sorry, the light's a little bad in here, but can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine. How was
Cool.
Vegas? Money 2020.
Money 2020. Holy cow. What an experience to send
I'm
in
sorry,
such a
holy
huge
moo
venue.
cow?
Holy moo cow. Yeah. What an experience, you guys. It was just out of control.
Wow.
Cool.
So,
any care to elaborate? Like how give a
Yeah, who
scope?
was there?
Like let's start with the London conference as a baseline. Multiples of that. How big was this thing? How huge?
I would say 20 times as large.
Woo-wee. That's
So if you took the Dash conference and put 20 of them in a line and then another 20 next to it, I'd say I'm always exaggerating, so maybe knock 10% off that,
Okay.
but at least it's a huge venue. I posted.
Your mic went off.
Oh, I think you just tapped your mic
mic
off.
problems.
Oh yeah, it's tapped off. It's off.
Yeah, the mute button's
Yeah.
on. Oh, here we go.
There we
Back.
go. That's better.
I guess these Kraken headsets, they must.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's gone again. It's cutting.
Yeah, I think he just doesn't want to talk to us. He's trying to be a dirty tease. Just hitting that mute button all the time.
Oh, it keeps hitting it.
There we go.
Okay, I don't know what these headsets are, but if you bring the new version 2 Krakens, but if you bring your hand up, I guess it mutes your audio. Anyway, so I climbed up on top of this booth. Like these 20 by 20 booths have like this one had like a 2-story climbing thing. So I like looking at them talking to people. I was like, they probably won't notice. So I like climb up on top of the booth. It's not rickety, but it's like you could definitely hear that I was up there, and just tried to take some pictures to show the actual like expansiveness of this system. And it is so big. Like Money 2020 is just massive. I mean, the tickets are $3,500 or something, and there's 20,000 or 30,000 people. I mean, someone mentioned that it was like $100 million event or something.
Oh yeah, is my understanding is that it is the biggest payment solutions conference in America. So my question is what percentage of the exhibits there were cryptocurrency related? Was it 10%, 20%? Because
I would say it was under 10% for sure, if not low fives. I didn't get a chance to walk around the venue a lot because I was very immersed in the discussions going on at the Dash booth. We had an amazingly busy booth the whole conference. I was blown away. Some of it was other vendors, but the takeaway for me was the banking industry is really, really struggling to stay relevant, and they're grasping at straws as to what they can do and what products they can provide. And they have a taste for blockchain in their mouth.
Okay. Can you please tell me about your Twitter account? Because I was following you. So everyone is at CoinGun, all lowercase. And Jeff was kindly uploading photos from the event. But one photo that I found quite interesting was that you said that you had a discussion on one of the exhibitors, and overnight they integrated Dash into their system. But I don't understand what is that, an ATM? What kind of was it, an exchange? What was that?
Yeah,
can you elaborate?
So this blew my mind. Okay, so our booth we were sort of in the the back of the space, but we were near another ATM vendor that was in the crypto space called Covault, or they call themselves a BTM vendor. Covault, Covault, and I think it's covaultbtm.com. And I walked over to their machine and I saw that they had a two-way machine there that supported both Bitcoin and Litecoin. And I just made the joke. I walked over with my Dash glasses on, and I walked up and said, "Can I try your machine?" I had some Litecoin and some Bitcoin left over from my recent attending the HCPP event in Prague. That was a crypto-only event run by General Bytes' ATM and point-of-sale network. And yeah, basically you could only use crypto at it. So I had some Dash, or I had some Litecoin and Bitcoin left over, and I just thought, I'll just try this guy's machine and talk to them about it. And so I sorry, someone just came in. I started to do that, and unfortunately, I had a Canadian ID and a Canadian phone number, and some of their systems hadn't yet, worked for Canada. So we got to talking about, their back end and their development and stuff. And I just said, what's it going to take for us to get Dash on your ATMs? Like, I see you support Bitcoin. I see you support Litecoin. We're a fork of Bitcoin, and we're not that much different. We're Bitcoin on steroids. And, I told him a little bit about the projects that we have in the pipeline, the Kuva Cash project. They're going to be needing some ATMs. Any of these cashless environments that want to do like a fully cashless crypto only environment, it needs a two-way ATM, because what you basically do is force everybody who comes into the event to put their cash into the ATM and get dispensed Dash or Litecoin or whatever. And so you need that two-way ability on the ATM, and then you need to be able to give them their money back if they want it out at the end of the event as well. So these are a totally critical piece to the whole process, the ecosystem. And General Bytes was on my radar because they both support ATMs, but they also have a point of sale system. And so when I traveled to Prague to try that system out and try that event out, it was because, if we're going to make this happen on a larger scale, we're going to need some better data, and we're going to need to be sure that we can pull it off.
Okay, so before I ask the 450 Dash question, who was actually at the Dash conference booth from the core team?
So Ryan Taylor was there, and myself.
Just you two? That was it?
Joining us was also Jesse and David from Watchman. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And Karen from Block Cipher. And not to be left out, Perry from Node 40.
Oh, Node 40. I've not heard much from them recently. Everything going good on their front?
Oh my God. The stuff Perry shared with me and showed me was really, really, really cool. I'll let him talk about that and discuss that. But yeah, Node 40's just been killing it, and they're scaling and growing, and it's really cool to see them and have them in the space. I mean, they are our most premium masternode hoster. They are an actual business, and I think it truly does show how professional they are, both with their node offerings, but also with their knowledge and their team. So yeah, Node 40 is a great partner, and same with Karen at Block Cipher. Oh my God, Karen and I had a lot of fun getting to know each other better. We had met in London, but not as didn't spend as much time together as in Vegas. So that was great.
Cool, great stuff. So I know you've only recently just got back to Canada from Vegas. There was a video that surfaced of a video interview of Ryan Taylor. Are you aware of any other video interviews that took place with Ryan or yourself from the Dash booth that the community can expect to see? Or was that just the only one that you're aware of?
So I know Ryan did quite a few interviews because he was definitely, his schedule was quite full, and some of them were even TV based, perhaps. I didn't see any of the cryptocurrency bloggers there or any thing like that, because it was definitely, a little bit of a premium event in order for them to attend. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was some, but I don't myself have any links that I could share. I wish I could. But most of the talks were very different. I have to say that. I have to really point out how different this conversation was than talking to people in the Bitcoin and digital currency space. This was an entirely different conversation.
Okay, so let's get interested now. This is Brian doesn't know what. Yeah, Brian doesn't know what is about to happen, and so I'm going to be watching his face just to see his reaction. Joel's already been briefed, and he knows to kind of hold me back a bit, and he knows how to control me from just working with me for a long time now.
Using very interesting language to phrase all this, but I'll let it slide for now.
Gonna crack my knuckles already.
Hey, Mark, nice shirt, bro.
Yeah, man. I think we shop at the same store. I think.
Oh, damn! Sorry. Not to get sidetracked.
London's where it's at, baby. So.
Yeah.
So for those that aren't on the Twitter world, and don't follow Dash Force News, firstly, why not get
How
involved?
dare you? Yes, how dare you? Stay dashy.
But as previously mentioned, Jeff was uploading these photos of the Dash booth that had very good artwork in the background of the booth, by the way. So kudos to whoever helped out with that. So, but
That was Joel, wasn't it?
well, yeah, I mean, like, I think someone helped out Waxman PR with that, with the artwork.
Cool.
Could be
I'll have to look who it was. I don't recall.
well.
Do you know, Mark? Could you share with us who made the graphics for that amazing Dash booth that we had in Money 2020?
It doesn't matter. The show's not about me. So anyway, there was a guest that I saw that was attending the event who I've been trying to chase down for months, and that is Ali, who is the VP of Payzer. And if you don't know what I'm getting to right now when I say Payzer, I'm going to say it right now. Charlie Shrem, the Dash Pay card that we get asked about, not just on a weekly basis, but pretty much a day-by-day basis now. So I don't want to use the word hounded, but I sent a few tweets to CoinGun saying, hey, if this guy's there, can you please speak to him and just try and find out what is going on, because they're not replying to messages or anything. So I only know a very, very small amount of information here. So everyone, all ears, Jeff, please tell us what was the outcome, because you did meet with Ali, right?
Yeah, so Ali, in our DM or in our thread there that we got going, where you said, see if you can find him, he actually replied and said that, he was at the event and he'd like to try to find me. So I just asked him to come by the booth and I gave him the booth number. Of course, the first time he stopped by the booth, I had just gone for lunch. And so I missed him. And I thought, oh man, like this guy's been dodging us. We finally get him to come by the booth. Now I've missed him. So he's got an excuse to not come back. Blah, blah, blah. Not the case at all. Not the case at all. Okay. Ali, fellow Canadian. So I got to give him a little bit of a hookup. I can't just be all bird dogging him like you were, like straight up. So we sat down and we had a really good conversation. It was really nice to hear where they were at and what they've been through. And it was ironic to hear it at Money 2020 because it was very much so to do with their banking partners. And I don't know how much of this I can share, but I don't really care overly too much because you guys do deserve an update. And what I understood is that they are not able to share certain things into their public relations sphere, based on some of their pre-existing agreements and arrangements with their banking partners.
So does that mean we're not going to get a Dash Pay card? Let's be blunt here. This is what people know. Are they going to get a Dash Pay card? Yes or no?
At this point, no. The banking partner that they were working with refused to move forward at the very end of, and this is all my interpretation of the conversation. I may be misquoting Ali, so I don't want to have any of this go on record, but this is my interpretation of this conversation. So if I did get it wrong, I'll try to follow up and correct that. But my interpretation of this conversation was that they did everything in their power and brought this entire process all the way to the very end. And at the very end, when they liked that one tweet, that was their subtle way of sort of saying, without saying anything, that, when they liked the one tweet of Charlie saying that, hey, we're sending this to the printing press, that all happened. It's my understanding that after that, their banking partner basically came to them and said, look, if you guys move forward with this, we are no longer willing to work with you. It may have been one of their
bizarre though, because Payzer already have a prepaid card that accepts over 50 cryptocurrencies. So if that's their business banking partner, They've already verified and cleared another card. This is just a one dedicated card solution.
Like I said, it could be one of their many partners, but my interpretation from it was that it was a large enough partner that asked them to put the brakes on.
Yeah.
That they couldn't risk their entire business model and profitability simply to try to deliver on something that a third-party person had said that they are going to deliver. So they end up in a very awkward situation. We end up in a very awkward situation. And nobody's, they've done all the job. They had everything ready to go. This was a fully done thing. They had proofs sent out. It was like they were getting ready to release it to market. And it was.
So what was the takeaway? Does it sound like they're actually going to, make an official statement? Are they actually going to give an update, or are they going to try and give another solution, or are they just going to not say anything? Like what was your takeaway? I think
the third one was what I got. I got that they aren't allowed to give an update. If they provide an update into their PR channels, they have to be very, very sensitive with the data it contains.
Don't you find that a bit bizarre?
Mark, I did find that a little bit bizarre prior to going to Money 2020, if you had asked me that. But after being with and meeting with all these bankers, I got to see the fear. And what I've realized is that these guys are doing everything they can to stop us and subvert us.
If you weren't there, we would be none the wiser, though. You just said they wouldn't give us an update, and
they're not able to give us an update.
Well, is this Dash specific? Is this something against us as Dash, or just crypto in general?
Crypto in general.
But they can't. Their whole business, that's their business model. They've had they were one of the first Bitcoin prepaid cards. We covered the news in July that they added 50 cryptocurrencies, and that's their business they're running now.
With what's labeled on the card. It has to do with the labeling of the cards and having the one logo in the corner, and then the flipping over on the back, and having this all be tied together, and then having it be tied into crypto. Let me finish my story, because I want to tell you a story about why this doesn't surprise me now after attending Money 2020. I had two different experiences that just blew me out of the water. I had one guy that works for one of the top banks say openly to me that him and everyone in his company have signed an agreement that they will not buy any cryptocurrency, and if they do, it is a fireable offense. A fireable offense for owning a cryptocurrency that is a bit of data.
Okay. JP Morgan put out something like that.
So that was one example, and these examples just kept happening. They're telling us that they can't own cryptocurrency at all. They can't interact with it. They can't do this. They can't do that. Yet they want to store it in their bank.
But this is their whole business model, right, that they're doing now. That is Pazer down to a T. I think they're operating in 26 different countries. And the great thing about
as long as the card says Pazer, and doesn't say cryptocurrency, and doesn't say these sort of things.
So surely the solution is to have a Dash Pay card, but it's just a Pazer on the front. What's difficult about that? Problem solved.
Better fees. Yeah, we need better fees.
That's where we get to option number 3 that you brought up, which was, what are we going to do, or what are they going to do? And it is my understanding that that is exactly what they're going to do. They are going to work with us to have Dash added to their platform so we can create our Dash specific.
When you say work with us, you mean actually communicate and talk to us, or just do everything behind the scenes and not say anything?
Honestly, Mark, I need you to change the tone on that one, because you have to understand, dude, they're mandated by their partners to not give any updates. They can't.
Look, here's my position, right? I've been...
So the back and forth doesn't help.
No, absolutely.
You
But
know,
like
the condescending stuff doesn't help.
No, I'm not being condescending at all. In fact, I've actually gone out my way to help them. This is for months, including Ali, not just Charlie. I actually tried to get them involved within the Dash conference. I tried to help them get involved to actually improve their service and give them feedback from the community about the 10x. I've tried so hard, but they've just constantly ducked. So I'm not on a manhunt. I'm just trying to understand the situation. And even from doing the videos with Charlie, the things that were promised, if you've accepted money to deliver something, right? So even Ali here, it would be unfair for me to target and have anger towards him. I'm just trying to understand the situation. At the end of the day, Charlie Shrem was the proposal owner, correct?
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
he said that he would deliver this. Now, there's been 0 updates, and those tweets that you're regarding to that he replied to is from a long string of tweets because the email communication broke down because he became despondent and just stopped replying to anything. Clearly, but I mean, we were having private email conversations. What was going on? I was helping them out to shape something great for the community, but it's clear that they don't want to communicate, and something was very, very wrong. And this has been going on.
And that's
for
the
months
misinterpretation. Is it's not that they don't want to. It's that my interpretation of talking with Ali is that they can't.
Yeah. So they said they were going to work with us. We're already able to get a Dash card, right? That just has Pesa on it. That's already available, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They already offer that.
Okay,
that's what I find so bizarre.
Well, I think here's what Jeff's saying is that they're going to work with us on like the fees and stuff that we were promised, or I don't know what.
Well, no, how can they work with us? They're not allowed to talk to us. That's what I'm saying. It makes no sense.
No, they're not allowed to publicly state what they're doing in any of the digital currency industries. It's not us, Mark. It's digital currency in its entirety. Yeah. That's the thing is these guys all are scared shitless of everything we're doing, and they're forming.
Have you been to the Pesa.com website? I'm not being condescending here, but it's got Bitcoin written all over it. No, I'm just being real here. We do articles on it, and obviously people message us from the community all the time. So I have to put myself in the shoes of a mastermind owner, just like Brian and yourself, and we have to hold them to the same accountability as everyone else and have to treat them all fairly.
Can I jump in here for a little second?
Yeah, sure. We lost your video, Joel, by the way. So,
sorry. So I completely understand Pesa's position and what they can and can't do with their agreements and communication stuff. And I have no problem with any of that. The thing is, Pesa did not submit a proposal before the master notes.
Right.
There's a certain person named Charles Shrem who submitted a proposal. He asked for money. He promised a product to deliver, made no mention of any deals that prevented him giving updates, right?
Well, Charlie Shrem is Charlie Shrem. I don't know why he can't give updates, but...
And by the way,
I'm only speaking about a conversation that I had with Pesa. That's it.
Yes, exactly. And it's important to get those things distinguished from each other, that Pesa has these certain limitations that they have, and they were the partner that Charlie Shrem was going to work with. Anyway, back to Charlie. He asked the Masternodes for money. He promised a very certain product. From what we're hearing from conversations at a certain event with the person Charlie would intend to work with, is in so many degrees of separation from that, he is not able to complete the project that he promised to deliver, at least not in this time. Certainly not in the form promised or the timeline.
Definitely not in the timeline. Definitely not in the form. I would completely agree with those statements.
And now the Dash community knows that. There will be a Dash debit card provided by Pesa, will not be available in short order, and definitely not with Dash branding on the card, which is one of the big selling points of the proposal. Now we know that. Dash community, you know this now. Go back to Charlie. Why do us three people, and then you too, Jeff, why do we have to be the bearers of this news? Where the hell is Charlie Shrem? why can't he just say, look, I got all this money and I'm sorry, there's some adjustments that we need to make, or, oh, sorry, it's not according to schedule, or why is there nothing there? There's no reason he can't at least vaguely allude to that, and there's definitely no reason for all the testiness in whenever dragged before the masternodes in order to give some kind of an update. So let me throw it back. How would any person in this room feel, or anyone listening from anywhere around the world, if they paid someone asked for money for a service, that service was never provided, and the person promising to provide that service just ghosted them, just disappeared, he's gone? That's what you would call fraud, theft, scam, those kinds of words.
Assuming you had a signed contract with said person, and you know they actually had blah blah blah, and that is the unfortunate part, is that's not what we have here.
Yes, we do have an agreement of sorts. Now that's the thing. Here's where we get into that interesting territory, right? We have an agreement, but it's not legally binding. So there's no legal action, i.e., tell the government to send some people with guns to chase after this dude for not doing whatever. There's none of that involved, right?
No.
Because this was done extra legally, or rather under this new governance by blockchain type system.
This was done in a long time ago as well. This is actively what we're trying to prevent the system from being riddled with.
Yes. So therefore,
I think
there are no
focus on that and get over. Like, you know, we can hound Charlie if we want, but throwing Pesa under the bus is not helping. They clearly,
definitely not.
They're at play where they are where they are. Okay, so that just is making us look like trolls at a certain point.
That's what I mean. That's what's so sad about this, is that it's come down
blame
to
the bankers, man. Blame the industry that's so shit scared of us. That they're making their employees sign agreements they can't even buy digital currency.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the bigger story.
Because you know what? Like if Ryan Taylor made me sign an agreement that said I won't touch fiat anymore if I'm going to work for Dash, and that got out, do you think that would be appropriate?
If you hadn't have had this conversation with Ali, where would we be today? Where would we be 2 months from now?
Well, and that's why you guys appreciate me so much, because I do everything for the D's.
Yes, thank you very much for your service in that.
That's
why, you know what? If we got to fly out and see Charlie in Miami, maybe we can hook it up. But at the end of the day, we still got to remain professional. We still got to take the data that's been given to us, and now we have the data. Let's take some time and think on it, and let's come up with a new strategy, because we got to turn this into a positive.
I don't hold anything against Pesa. They seem to be, you know, they're really not.
But we
involved, but they're not involved.
We can't be gullible either. You can't believe everything that you hear. So, like, although I'm sure he had the most sincere, genuine intentions, you know, not everyone can always say 100% what is the situation. So, you know, we've seen it time and time again where people will make promises and promises.
Yeah. So Pesa's kind of an accessory to this. Pesa is just like is a factor in the story, but is not the story. Now we go back to and there right now in the Dash community, there's a lot of governance type questions of how are we going to structure this kind of stuff better? What are we going to do to avoid current situations like this? What do we do now? And I think that the reason that bringing this up is very relevant, because it allows us to kind of do hypotheticals around a real world situation on what do we do when the next Charlie Shrimp comes knocking, asking for funding? How would a better way to structure this kind of thing?
Well, and I'd argue we're working towards that.
Yes, we're definitely working towards that, and there's quite a few things. Here's one. Well, to begin with, some kind of a delivery-based, some kind of an escrow system, some kind of a payment system that allows payouts to be sent out when milestones are met. That's a very important thing, and I understand there's quite a few services that offer that right now, and that's step one. Step two, much more clearly define expectations to the community. One of these expectations would be regular updates, not just I'll tell you how it's going, but like every 2 weeks, for example. And even if the update is I can't say anything, right? That's still an update. And there have been a couple contractors to the masternodes that have been exemplary in this regard, and I just want to name them out, is Alt36 and the Kuva Cash project have both been thorough and professional in keeping up with communications with the community. So whatever else anyone can say
any
about
others
that
come to mind at all? Any others come to mind?
Those are the ones
bit by bit. Sorry, bit by bite now.
Bit by bite.
And another one.
Dash Force.
Oh yeah, Dash Force.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and maybe another
that one.
Is there another one?
Dash Aerosports is pretty good.
Dash Aerosports is pretty good. Is there another one?
No, I think that rounds out the loop.
Are you sure?
Anyway, go on, UL. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right. I'm enjoying this. I'm fishing.
Yes. So, for example, that there's good examples of correct behavior in that regard. And then, of course, the other thing is people don't even know what's going on with half these proposals. It's like dust in the wind. They just get funded, goes out in the ether, and at some point we expect some sort of a payout. But a lot of masternode owners are unfortunately a little bit short on memory. And I think, of course, it's incumbent upon them to remember and follow up, etc. But that doesn't mean that there can't be better systems in place for that. So there's a few projects there to start tracking progress, as I'm sure Jeff would say, of plenty of these proposals. And then finally, how do you have some kind of an accountability against a delinquent proposal of some kind? Now, of course, there can't be any legal ramifications unless there is a legal document that's written up through a legal entity.
And it has to be legal on a global basis, which is quite difficult to do.
Yes, and honestly, a lot of people in the cryptocurrency community got into cryptocurrency precisely to escape the sort of slow-moving structures of the older world. And of course, there's obviously risk and benefits to that. And so how does one enforce accountability outside of a legal structure? That's definitely an important question to be addressed. And one way is, of course, reputation/shaming. If someone scams the masternodes, for lack of obviously being hyperbolic here, but if that person is a known scammer, then at some point no one wants to do business with that person. It has a reputational risk in the long run. For example, the Dash Morocco team got a proposal funded to spread, to do an Arabic version of Dash School and do some meetups and giveaways and things. And they, from the last I talked to them last night, are on the verge of completing the entire project successfully. So they've done a great job. However, at their inception, one of the three members basically just took off with a big chunk of the money. And so with the very limited budget, the other two were able to finish the project as promised, which, huge props to them. The first guy who took off, he's not going to be able to pop up around the Dash community anytime soon, right? That bridge is burned forever. And that's the sort of reputational countermeasure.
Yeah. But you need
to first line of defense.
You need to inform the community as well. If there's nothing in place to let the community know what has happened, because there's so many proposals going through now.
Oh, sorry.
People can easily forget all these proposals that have been, passed. I mean, like the shrimp proposal that we were just talking about, that was a long time ago now. So, yes. And it's only because the need of the Dash debit card, so many people are waiting on it. That's why it was really resonating in a lot of people's minds. Plus the issues with Visa cards at the moment. If you're in Europe, you're okay, but everywhere you weren't. And if you're US based, this card was the solution because they could print and ship the card from within the United States, as this was MasterCard. So this was a very unique case and was a really business needed. Like there was a strong business case for it. So anyway, I'm enjoying this conversation. This is a conversation that's needed to be had for a long time, and I'm sure this won't be the end of it. My question is now is what happens? Where do we go from here? What do we do with Charlie? Like how do we move forward from here?
Yeah, it sounds like he's not going to be able to deliver the card no matter what. So I guess he needs to give an update.
or give? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you mean? Like, do we just say like give the 450 Ds back? I mean, like, what do we do? Or
Something like that.
just do else? If you don't let the community know what's happened, how do you, they could submit the other proposal? Now, people get a bad reputation, but only when they know what's happened, right?
Well,
So,
and do you think if he submitted another proposal, he would get voted in on?
No.
well, I mean,
So
right now,
then,
I would hope not.
he's
But I mean,
he's essentially burnt his own reputation with the community, right?
Depends on,
Yeah,
I guess, how
honestly,
if he gives the money back and
it's
how he
expensive way
handles
of
it.
doing it.
He's already had
Who-
a bad.
Who do you give it back to? Has there been any
Oh,
precedent for funds
that's-
being returned from a proposal?
Yes, there has
yes,
been.
there has been, yeah.
I
The
don't know if
foundation.
it's something.
Yeah.
Dash
Yeah,
Times.
I don't know if it's something that yes, there's a newspaper called the Dash Times, and the proposal owner, he did a proposal to start a podcast and fund a bunch more articles, etc. And then at that point, after receiving the funds, he disappeared for a few months and then came back wanting to sell the site. At that point, he was working for Pivex, and he rebranded the site the Pivex Times. And so, having taken money from the master owners, never delivering a project and jumping to a competing project, I sort of took it upon myself, because I had some involvement with the original project, to sort of chase after him and let him know that his reputation was at stake. And so finally he said, what can I do to make things right? And so he gave not the original Dash amount, because the price had gone through the roof by then, but the original dollar amount he donated to the Dash Foundation, and hasn't really been seen around since. I mean, I'm sure he's still working on some other project somewhere, but that's sort of concluded his dealings with the Dash community. And as much as I would never trust him with Mastodon funds ever again, would consider, I mean, a lot of people consider that as a gesture of good faith and kind of sealing the deal. Right? Now, honestly, this is from my point of ignorance as a newbie, and I'm sure Mark is also in the same position as a newbie.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about the Dash Foundation, what it does, where that money even goes, anything about that. The only thing I know about the Dash Foundation is that was listed on iTunes as the publisher of the iPhone wallet.
Oh yeah, it's pretty
Do you have
default.
any more insight?
I mean, I
any
think
more insight on that, Jeff, or is that outside your wheelhouse?
Yeah, that's super outside of my wheelhouse. Does it run on a server? I could tell you about the website.
Yeah,
I could tell you what server the website runs on.
All I know about the Dash Foundation is that it was originally thought of as a funding mechanism for continued Dash development, before it just, the donation-based model that didn't work for Bitcoin certainly was not going to work for Dash. And then that's when Evan came with this genius proposal system that we've all been discussing the finer points of for the entire podcast. But yeah, that's kind of the
I think my interpretation is that it will eventually be replaced by the trust, like the new trust that they're forming and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't even know much about it.
I think it sort of like was the centralized thing that you did before you could do the decentralized kind of thing.
Yeah, I think they handle patents and copyright stuff. They're doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
Okay,
a lot of hard work.
I want to go back to Charlie. I'm not going to let this go. Jeff, if you was Charlie and you was in his shoes right now, what would you do?
Oh,
honestly,
fuck you! You're such a dick.
Oh, do you want to?
What would you do?
Ask me the question instead, Mark?
Well, okay, would you go? Would you go to the forum and do a poll saying, "Okay, I got the 450 Ds. I've got the solution. Here are my options. Let the community decide, or let the master nodes decide." Or I mean, what would you do? I mean, let's have a. It's not just to Jeff; it's to everyone. Like, seriously.
Well, he either has the Ds or he doesn't. If he still has them, which should be confirmed on the blockchain if they've even moved or not. I have never even confirmed that.
We should look into that.
Somebody said they were still. I thought you looked at that, Jeff. I thought they were still there last time we checked. That was a while back.
Short-term memory seems to be giving me up here for right now. Let me take a look and see if I can find it. You go, Yoel. You answer first.
It does make absolute sense why the dashpaycard.com website never came to fruition. Not even just a landing page, not even under construction, coming soon or anything. In my video interview with Charlie way back at the beginning of August, I believe, might even be before then, to be honest. He said the whole back end and stuff was done. But I mean, right now, I don't know what to believe, because what we've been told is like we have to take with a pinch of salt. It's just like, you know, it's the word gullible in the dictionary anymore.
Yeah, he needs to give an update. He should probably take a small fee for what he's done and give the rest back, a very small fee, and say he's sorry. But yeah, he's not going to get funded again just because of his lack of communication. That's
and that to me is the biggest thing. You know, like when we entered this proposal with the Gap and we were negotiating with the production company, you know, it was like, well, we looked at their contract and it's like, you know, we don't have a lot of grounds here to do much with, you know, say creative control. But at the end of the day, I still felt comfortable moving forward because these people are risking their reputation to work with the Dash network. That to me is worth a heck of a lot more than $127,000 or the value of Charlie's proposal right now. If Bitcoin splits into 19 million pieces and it implodes and all that's left is Dash running the world, do you think Charlie's going to have a spot with us?
No.
Exactly.
Right now he's not.
That's a thing.
And so
that's what all of us early adopters, of course, have thought is we've sort of seen that Dash has long-term value beyond just another shitcoin, you know, and are willing to sort of come in at a smaller table that we expect to then grow. But as for the actual answer of like, what do I do if I'm Charlie Shrem? I asked for this money. I totally thought I could deliver on these promises. What would I do differently? First off, and this doesn't mean like I'd be perfect or anything, but let's just say, you know, this is something you could reasonably expect someone to do. First off, when there are complications that arise, tell the community. It doesn't have to be if I couldn't say something specifically like, well, they say this or the car provider is saying that. I would just say, we're running into some issues with the car providers. There will be a delay. Sorry, I will keep you updated. And just keep that going at least once a month. Say something like that, including and some kind of a worded apology, because if it's not delivered on time, I'm sorry, guys, that it's been so long. We're still working on a solution. It has to do. It's not from our end. It's from the back end. We'll keep you updated. And then finally, when you hit this point right here where we're at, I don't know this information we've learned today. I don't know when Charlie would have gotten it, but whenever he would have, the me Charlie, right? Charlie Valenzuela, I guess. Haha. The Charlie Lynx, would say, come to the community and say, hey guys, I got some bad news. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I will not be able to deliver a card this year, potentially next year. I will not be able to deliver a card this year. And more specifically, there's no possibility in my mind that I can deliver a card that has the Dash branding on it. So depending on if I spent the money or not. If I haven't spent the money, just be like, if I spent the money, just be like, sorry, I'll make it up to you guys, or sorry, I'll try to give some back to some whatever, depending on the money, but just come clean and just say, sorry, I can't do that. How do you want me to proceed? Whether or not you listen to what happens next, that's almost irrelevant as long as you say, hi, this is the situation. I can't give too many details, but unfortunately, we've hit a brick wall. Yeah. How do you want me to proceed? What can I do to make my reputation right?
Can't do that. It's unfortunate. Some people just aren't that person. You know, they are either so overwhelmed by giving that update or whatever, but they just close up and ball up, and then it doesn't help that we kind of pile on them with all these sort of attacks. You know, I know why we do it. Like I know because we do it to get the information because it eventually works, right? And so, yeah, maybe attacks not the right word,
for lack of a mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's unfortunate, but yeah, like for me, keeping your trust with the Dash network, if you want to continue working with the Dash network, is something that should be invaluable to you. It should be worth all the Dash from the Instamine.
Well, it's not just that. Why did you have to say that word?
That's an interesting
from the defense as it was.
It's like all the tea in China or whatever. It's like one of it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
new one of those. It's like
The new all the tea.
grown reference.
What there's an easy solution Payzer could do. They already offer Dash via their system with other cryptocurrencies. Now, if they've obviously had to submit a process to MasterCard to approve, right? Now, there's probably some money submitting that proposal itself to MasterCard. However much that is, I don't know. People watching, if you know, write in the comments below. So some money's probably been up to use that. But here's the thing that they can do. They already offer Dash on their Payzer branded card. Why not just reduce the fees on Dash and just leave everything else the same? Just to say,
in exchange for the Dash that has already been
and as a token of goodwill to show, like, hey guys, we're with you. We understand the situation. We're really sorry. It's out of control. But here's something we can do that we currently already offer. And this is a viable solution that is within our grasp that we can do.
Well,
Please
that's something I can take that to Ali. I can take that to Ali. When he asked me what can I do, I didn't have a great answer for him at the conference. Obviously, there was a lot going on, but that if you want to, help us form that story, then I have no problem delivering that message that, hey, this would be enough for us, or this would be, but we do have to be understanding of the fact that if they've put out money as a business to do this, and then they've also got stiff too, and now we're asking them to do something else, and they still haven't even gotten any compensation from Charlie.
That's why we need.
They're in an awkward position too, right?
Yeah, that's why we really need communication from Charlie. We don't know how much of that money went to the submission process to MasterCard, but also to Payzer. Obviously, he probably needed some money for the back end of his website, but let's face it, the back end was Payzer because it works on their system, right? So that's why the confusion is. How much is if they're going to submit another proposal, do they have enough money left over? This is where they need to really at least have some kind of form of dialogue, even if it's behind closed doors with trusted people within the community. Otherwise, you're not just setting yourself up for failure, you're setting yourself up that, you don't want any involvement, or you're just not acknowledging the responsibility that you was given in the first place. And for me, that's very taboo and a big no-no. And that's if you act that way, that's no good. So this isn't a witch hunt. We all want this solution. I actually put off again the 10x card because I wanted this card. So,
Well, apparently you have to put off getting both.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, 10x card's still okay in Europe, but I mean, yes, I'll go along with that. However, there will be a Dash branded 10x card with the Dash Aerosports, and hopefully we'll have an update about that soon. So not all is lost just yet.
Fingers crossed.
And here is where I tie it all together. For the longest time, this was the panacea. This was the big thing that everyone was waiting for, is a simple card where you can use your crypto and spend it everywhere you spent anything else. So then everyone, I mean, I live unbanked right now, all on Dash, and it's not easy, and it's only possible because of the unique set of circumstances. It's only feasible, let me put it that way, because the unique set of circumstances because of where I live, where I can call up where I can go out to eat with friends and then just pay them Dash for my portion of the meal and they're fine, for example. But this is the great gateway that helps, and I think it was sort of a false thing to be chasing after, because that's kind of asking permission from the banking system to use a system that will supplant them. And so obviously anytime these cards can get completed and done, that's a very nice thing, but I don't think that should be where we should be focusing. I think it's a uphill battle. I think where we should be focusing on is point of sale systems that do a conversion, right? So you can just do a tap and pay, scan and pay, whatever, that then turns into fiat in their bank accounts. Or even better, right now in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is very close to where I live, there's about a half dozen or so businesses on one single street that take Dash, and they don't even have a payment processor. They take it straight to the wallet and keep it. If we can get a good local network of businesses that do that, eventually we don't even have to worry about this fiat conversion after all. This is only a temporary step.
So are you
And,
saying
it
that
looks like-
it would be really valuable to the Dash network if they had an ATM and point of sale system that supported their product?
Yeah, what are those?
I didn't
What are
say
those
that.
things? What do you got?
Did you guys happen to see that? Oh, these are some 3D printed Dash coins.
Cool.
Nice. Oh, is
I
that
had
any
a
numismatic value?
girl. I had a girl come up to the booth. She picked up. We were giving out headphones and battery chargers. She picked up the little bag full of headphones. She shook it. She said, "Are there Bitcoins in here?"
Was that a joke though?
She was dead serious. And I looked at her and I was like, "Honey, the Bitcoins are in there. Take them away. Put them somewhere safe and they'll be worth lots in the future." And she literally walked away with them in her pocket.
That's pretty funny. That happened a couple of years ago to Davy Barker, who runs the Shiny Badges. So like all those like Bitcoin lapel pins and Silk Road lapel pins, all those kinds of things we've seen over the years. He got stopped by security in the airport because they saw all these. Yes, he saw these lapel pins, and they literally said that he was carrying too many Bitcoins with him.
It's upside down.
Yes, and so they literally they were trying to shake him upside down and shake the Bitcoins out of his pockets. It's just
all right. Let's wrap up here.
funny.
Let's wrap up. I think I would be happy if Pesa was able to get some D's from Charlie, lower the fees. I would be happy with that. Hopefully, something like that can happen.
Take the D's, lower the fees.
Yeah,
Let's do a rally outside his house. Take the D's, lower the fees.
Let's go over again.
Let's wrap up. Since we got Jeff here, what's the update on the Gap thing? Any new news? Anything interesting on that front?
Funding's all wrapped up. They've received all their funding a few days before we were required to provide it.
Second week of November, RT, hopefully. First airing date.
Yep. So second week in November. I believe it's been pushed to post-production or to, they're all done. They're all wrapped. And, from our side, everything went pretty darn smoothly. We couldn't pull off everything we wanted, but we also pulled off more than we wanted in some other spaces as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see that, and I'm really excited now to move on to the next chapter, which is figuring out the legal obligations that Green Candle has inside of Canada with the proposal funds. Are just getting some engagements with different legal experts, both in the law and the accounting firms or the accounting industry. And we're going to get we would like some guidance from them as to how this proposal was handled, if there is any way we could improve the legal structure of Green Candle to help. And we hope to have an answer by them this year, but it could take a few weeks to a few months for that to get fully kind of done. So
was there anything, do we know how much is left over, or what you're gonna plan on doing with the extra?
What we're looking at now is getting the definition of whether those funds are taxable inside of Canada. Because what we need to know is if they are taxable, what portion of them are taxable. And then we'll have to decide if Green Candle is going to have to pay tax on those funds inside of Canada. Then it's most likely going to be able to use those funds how it sees fit. If they rule that those funds, we don't know. We could have a taxable event on the entire $500,000 give, so we could have a huge tax bill.
All right, are other projects going to be able to benefit from the legal advice? Is that going to be public, or is that specifically Green Candle?
No, absolutely. No, what we're trying to do is we're trying to formalize the process that we've went through, and then get it sort of verified, and then also go through it again and say, what could we do differently? Like, for example, the rules in Canada state very different things if you provide equity or if you get anything in return, or all that legal structure. So what we want from them is we want them to look at how we did it on first run, and we want them to give us either a better way to do it for the second run, or potential improvements, or just something that actually says this is happening. And we've actually we've been in talks with a few firms, but I think we're going to engage with Deloitte. But we're still working on that. So that's one of the top 4 firms in the world, and we feel that they are going to be a very, very valuable resource. They are willing to work with us, to keep the costs down, but these lawyers are not cheap. I have to say that up front. They're very, they're not cheap. So our initial engagement with them will be in the $5,000 to $7,000 range. And we don't even know that is going to get anything more than just definition of the questions we're trying to ask, and hopefully some answers.
That's not bad for lawyer stuff. That's not a bad price at all. Yeah, especially if it's going to benefit the whole network. It's a bargain.
Yeah,
we're happy to cover that expense. What we're doing is we're leaving everything as is with the gap proposal and the funds that are left over. We're not paying the finder's fee, we're not paying or taking our management fee, and we're not doing anything else with those coins until we are given a proper direction from the lawyers.
One thing that I think we can learn, from a proposal perspective for masternodes, of course, everyone would like the proposal owners to take Dash and hold on to Dash, but a lot of these proposals require escrow services. And one of the unique things with the gap proposal in terms of the contract that I thought was quite good, but we did on our part, was that the payments within the contract was done within installments. So we had a list of criteria, things that needs to be done. And then obviously after the first payment went through, okay, you've done this, tick these boxes, okay, great.
And there was also a legally binding agreement between Green Candle Incorporated and the production company that's handling the gap proposal. So, we hope that that's sort of a precedent that gets set, but at the same time, if you aren't taking these proposals seriously and you're not having an incorporation that can sign a document, then you're not able to do that. And what's happening is the Dash community is still voting and supporting people that aren't taking this stuff to the level of professionalism it needs to be. And exactly. I don't know where the change is there, but we all need to mature in this process. And we're hoping to show one example of how it could be done in one country in the world. But, I challenge everybody else to go out there and do it in their country as well and make sure that we are doing this right. So far, we're working inside of Canada because that's what I'm capable of doing with my resources. And at the same time, the Dash core group is working with their resources to try to solve this issue as well. So we already have 2 sets of people working and getting similar definitions in different areas and looking at similar structures. Theirs is on the side of the entire network and protecting the network from them. And ours is on the side in Green Candle from allowing proposal owners in the Dash network to feel they can be very successful in this situation. And I think a great example is General Bytes, the pre-proposal I just saw come in this morning. They're offering to make Dash a first-class citizen in all of their products, including an ATM and a point-of-sale network. And I believe that's directly related to my trip out to Prague to meet Karel and attend that hacker event at the Parapolice in Prague, because Karel and I spent many hours speaking that night about Dash, and it became quite clear to me that there's still a lot of stuff people need to know about Dash in this ecosystem, and some people still don't have access to that right information, no matter how much marketing we're doing and all these things. So it was really great to have that chat, and it was really great when I left there after asking how long is it going to be until our point of sale and ATM can be supported on a General Bytes machine. They were thinking like end of next year. And so for them to come back to us now, a short few weeks later, and have a very coherent plan with how this is going to be pulled off, and to be for it to be able to even be pulled off maybe as soon as January. I think we have a real neat opportunity. Wow. They're okay with Green Candle acting as escrow, and instead of offering one payment of 180 Dash, they're willing to take 60 Dash over the next 3 months, where Green Candle will actually work to make sure that they do their deliverables properly before we release them the funds. And this really fits into our bigger vision as well, where we want, to get Blueprint and Live Nation together to do a crypto only music festival. And we got a lot of heat when we put in the pre-proposal for that, because our first ask was just to sponsor an event, but we needed some more pieces of the puzzle. And one of the big pieces was a two-way ATM vendor and a point of sale system. And I believe we're not only going to have General Bytes for that, but we're also going to have Cobalt as a partner for that, because Cobalt already owns 7,000 point of sale systems in Russia that are already deployed. And they're willing to look at adding Dash to their point of sale system as well. So if this goes well and we can get integrated and enabled on General Bytes with Instant Send, and then we can get integrated enabled with Instant Send on Cobalt machines as well and their point of sale system, then suddenly Dash vendors are going to have two options for point of sale and ATM, and a crypto cashless business is an entire possibility then. The ATMs that General Bytes has is pretty cool because they dispense these little NFC enabled credit cards. Have you seen those?
Cool.
Yeah,
I actually have.
let
me just grab one. I actually have mine from the HCCP event, and I did some new screen setup, you guys. I don't know if you can see it. Sneak peek.
Ooh.
Cover the number.
What's 4K by 4K? No, these things are cool. They're 4 by 4K. So it's not an actual card. It's an NFC card, but no number on it.
Cool.
So every attendant got one of these, and the ATMs also dispense these things. That's right. Is that the FestiPay one?
Yeah.
So their ATMs actually dispense these, and in a cashless environment, you give out these cards, and then everybody just has to walk up. General Bytes, shout out, homies. You just have. Oh, I also met the CEO of Trezor. She's a cool chick too. Did you know it was a chick? I didn't know it was a chick. So anyway, you
No, I do now.
Yeah, Alina. So you give out these cards to all the participants, and what you actually do then is the participant uses the card, and if they need to reload it, they just go to the ATM, put in $20, and the ATM hits it back onto this card. Or if you're a super pimp, like the business development manager, Martin at General Bytes, you have an NFC-enabled chip in your hand, which he actually does, and you dispense the Dash or the Litecoins from the ATM onto your hand, and then you walk up to the point of sale system and you pay with your freaking hand. He has two, I think one like
cool
an older
and
one and a newer one.
At the same time.
Does anyone have a hacksaw?
It's so terrifying to watch it happen. I was like blown away. But the Cobalt machines don't dispense these cards, and I think these cards are kind of interesting.
It just reminds me of Festi, because that's the interesting thing about their proposal. Like the two things that you've brought up with the Live Nation and also their pub thing, that obviously they want the 10 ATMs, but their unique situation with their cards as well, not just the wristbands. That's kind of the similar thing as well. It's all about supporting the Dash ecosystem and getting away from the legacy banking system. So we spent the majority of this podcast talking about debit cards that purposely rely on Visa and MasterCard, but that's not the end game solution, is it? So these solutions here now that really excite me, and I think that's what's going to be 2018 for me. That's going to be the game changer.
Our ecosystem can now support an entirely cashless environment, and it's just a matter of testing it at scale. We need a little bit more time, but I know we can do this. I know we can pull off a large music festival or a large event run entirely in crypto, and it's not going to be painful. It's actually going to probably cause a very little friction, especially if people prepare and preload, or we pre-ship them their cards. and they can kind of get ready for that.
Can
So
these cards,
that's the vision, but
I guess the cards can also be like the NFC can be integrated with the phone too. So you don't have to have a card. You can have your phone because that's where everything's going in China.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's like Festi. So you'd have the app. Sorry, I keep going to Festi, but that's the only working thing that I've actually seen with the prototype. So you'd be able to top that up. So in these 10 pubs, for example, where they'd put in these ATMs prototypes, so you could get the card, you've got the ATM to get money as well. You can obviously top that up, but then you can use that card elsewhere as well. But obviously, like security wise, when we spoke on the Free Amigos the other week in terms of locking stuff down on your phone, all sorts of things, because NFC security is also a very big topic at the moment as well. So,
all right, ladies, let's wrap up.
Cool.
Okie dokie.
Well, this has been very insightful.
Yes.
I could do the outro then. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I know we had a little bit of a different schedule today, but that's perfectly all right. Everything turned out great. We're all going to be traveling and doing great things. Thanks to Dash community for being so patient and so tight knit. And we're going to really expect to see great things for the rest of the year. Remember, there's plenty of challenges in the road ahead. No one ever said it'd be, you don't change the world with smooth sailing, but it's worth the struggle. Oh boy, is it ever worth the struggle. Same bad time, same bad channel. Stay dashy.
Stay dashy.
Peace.
Stay dashy, y'all.